Hey everyone, welcome back to another interesting episode in Pivot to Thrive podcast. It's one of those very rare interview style episodes where I'm meeting with Krish Ravi Patti, who's based in Brisbane, Australia. So, this episode, you're going to listen about the journey of how a simple Hyderabadi boy saw a red car and made his life changing decision to move to Australia and the impact he's created in the last 23 years in his own life. And the journey, throughout the journey, has impacted multiple clients. He's acquired companies and has multiple team members. So you can always see the vision he had from a simple desire. You'll also get to know how friendships can turn into business partnerships, and you have to stay till the end to understand how his best friend was ready to lose $1 million to turn from friend to a business partnership. So, this episode is valuable for every business owner that is struggling with confidence, that is struggling to understand, to see the bigger vision on how they can overcome the internal challenges with confidence. If you're a migrant entrepreneur, if you're a student or of migrant origin, and if you have very low self esteem and confidence due to language barriers, and how you can overcome the cultural barriers, then this episode is a must listen. So there's so much values that is packed in this episode. I can't wait to get started to ask Chris all the right questions so you get all the juicy content out of this episode. So let's get started. Welcome to Pivot to Thrive podcast, and I'm super excited to be interviewing you today. So I'm going to share a little bit of background about how I met you. I basically found you on LinkedIn. It's weird how you follow someone on LinkedIn, you feel like you've known each other for ages. I've been following your journey. I've been following your success with acquiring multiple businesses. So I was this curious fellow Indian entrepreneur who has been motivated by your success, and I reached out for a coffee, and you were very generous with your knowledge, and we discussed how I want to have an exit, and you basically had a clear strategy on how you feel, there is a clear pathway. I definitely feel there's lots of value nuggets that my audience can get from your expertise. So without further delay, I want you to give a very quick, brief introduction about who you are and what you do for people who don't know you.
Priya, thank you very much for having me and thank you for meeting me the other day. It was a great chat we had at our office. I don't know, a bit of myself, I guess. This is where I get to toot my horn, is it?
That's right.
Awesome. Hey, just a normal bloke from Hyderabad, I guess. Been living in Australia for 23 years. A long time, it feels like that. Yeah, came in as a student, then did a bit of work in a bank and moved to Queensland in 2003. Did my accounting, worked as an accountant. Then accounting was too boring. Then I wanted to do IT, did a bit of IT, and then said, oh, actually, accounting was not that bad. So then we said, okay, we'll go and purchase a business, an accounting firm. And then that was good. And then a few friends and I got together, started purchasing other businesses as well. And here we are. So I, at the moment, manage two businesses. One is an accounting firm, Accounts Advantage, and the other one is called Dunk Agency, which is a digital marketing firm. So that's career-wise. And personally, I guess I manage two teenagers in the house. Actually, the correct word is parent, not manage, I think. So yeah, my wife and I, we have two teenagers. My daughter is 16, son's 13, handful. And I like to think that I'm a good father and a
Oh,
good husband.
I'm sure there's nothing called bad parent, right? We try to show up as the best version of whatever we are.
That's
So
it.
I don't think there's any bad parenting. Okay, that's a very humble introduction to whatever you do. So there's a lot of, I did a bit of talking and found out a lot of information, of course, because for the podcast episode, I really wanted people to get the valuable content from you. So let's go back a little
Yeah.
and say how this little Hyderabadi boy wanted a red car. What is the relevance for red car in Australia?
Oh yeah, the story was very interesting. Is like, we were a bunch of friends back in the day when degree first year, Bachelor's of Commerce first year, BCom first year, a bunch of friends, and one of my friends, she broke her ankle. So I was the only guy in the entire college driving a car. I was a rich kid back then, so I was driving an old Maruti car, but that did the job back then. But she was a very good friend of mine, and she said, "Hey, why don't you drop me at house? I can't walk." So, yeah, sure. So a bunch of friends went went and dropped her, and then she showed some album. And there was one particular photo we looked at, and I said, "Hi, that's your brother, isn't it?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, that's my brother. Yeah, I know Raghav. I know we played cricket with him. Doesn't look like he's in India. Where is he?" He was sitting in front of a snow, in front of a red car, and he said the snow was good, but what attracted me was a red car. And I said, "That's a cool car. Where's your brother?" And she said, "Oh, he's in Melbourne." And I go like, "Where is Melbourne?" And she goes like, "That's in Australia." And I go like, "Where is Australia?" So I had no idea. I mean, I had a clue, but it's like Australia is very far unheard of. But I said, "All right, let's go." And then we had three other friends, and I said, "Mate, we should go and buy that red car. Such a cool car." And the guys and the boys said, "Krish, I think that's true. Let's go and buy a red car." So we went home and told my dad, saying that I want to go to Australia. He didn't hear anything. He was working for a bank. It was very easy for him to get a bank loan for education. He said, "Do you want to go to Australia? All right, I'll send you to Australia," because he was so desperate to kick me out of India. And I said, "Okay, let's go." And I just followed the same process as what Raghava did. They went as a student visa. And then, yeah, that's really it, why I moved to Australia. But then I came here. It took me 23 years to buy a red car. And finally, I think June 2024. So we said, "All right, mate, let's buy it. Let's do it." So I bought a red Model Y Tesla, a red
Yeah,
car.
see, you bought it in style. You bought the red car, but the red Tesla. I saw that LinkedIn photo and it was very funny. So I think there's a lot of key message in here, right? So major decisions in life can be out of such simple desires and simple wants in life that can turn out to be life changing. So I think people just overestimate or really overcomplicate their life, thinking you need that $1 million dream. So like everyone who looks at you now will be like, "Oh, Krish was always driven and he always wanted $1 million empire." But no, Krish was that boy who just wanted a red car.
That's it.
So it can have these humble beginnings and humble needs. And I think that's something that I really like about you is how you are this normal Indian kid who had that very humble desire that turned out to be life changing for you, and the number of families that you could impact who are working with you now and clients and everything. It's a whole ecosystem that is flourishing because of that one simple decision.
So true. Absolutely true, Priya. I believe in that. In Telugu, if I may say a word in Telugu, there's a word called Alpa Santoshi. Alpa Santoshi is you feel happy for little things. Sometimes it's got a negative connotation saying that don't be a Alpa Santoshi, dream big. But I think that, you know what? In life, you got to be happy with every single thing. Caramel cappuccino. Oh, wow, what a beautiful flavor. It's such a simple thing, but why can't we be happy? Like, just be happy with every single thing. And exactly as you said, one simple desire, not even a desire. It was less like, "Hey, mate, let's buy a red car." It was not even like a burning dream. It was like, "Hey, mate, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it." And that changed the entire course of life. So, exactly as you said, just be happy with simple things.
And that's the two extreme of what I noticed about you that I'm curious to explore. Okay. So when I came into your office, you know how you showed me the spreadsheet where you track every 15 minutes or 30 minutes of your time to track your productivity. That seems intense. Someone who is intense in the process, someone who's intense with time management, someone who is very, very productive, intense driven. But then you also have that fun side where you say entrepreneurship is boring. So make it fun, and
Yes.
every post of yours on LinkedIn reflects that fun personality of yours. So I guess there is a delicate balance. So can you explain how, because in process you're very driven and you're very much time managed, and but then the other side of you is fun and fun loving. So how do people balance?
See, I would say that I'm very, very fortunate because when you look at the right brain and the left brain, now, right brain is all about creativity and the ideas need to flow. A left brain is all about that analysis and rigid, strict measures and KPIs. Now, professionally, I'm an accountant and I drive hourly, like we charge hourly to the client. We have retainers, we have KPIs and a deadline driven. We need to lodge BASs, we need to lodge tax returns. And it's very, very strict and rigid follow. It's a very left brain sort of things. But as a personality, I'm a very right brain person. I like poetry. I like emceeing on the stage. I like people. So I'm kind of very fortunate to have both these things going on simultaneously. That's what I call myself, like on 3 days director for an introverted business, which is an accounting business, strict rules. 2 days Since I'm a director for a digital marketing firm, which is creative, flair, it all comes up. I say that to all my friends, saying that, hey, mate, there is a job that you got to do to pay bills. Do whatever it takes to pay bills because that's the reality. And there is the other side of it, which you could be either way. You could be a creative person who are really desperate to have order in life. So go and choose something which does that and satisfies that needs, which is not money generating, which is happiness given. In my case, my money generation is steps and driven in 15 minutes. As you saw, every 15 minutes I track with categories. Am I client acquisition? Am I financing? Am I administration? Am I marketing? Am I with my friends? I track that too. Am I watching Netflix? That's where I make money. That's my salary. But also this fun side, I really burst creativity, which is like, I want to talk to people. Give me a mic, I'll talk all day. And very, very few people in life will have this fantastic opportunity where they can convert this passion to money. That's what I think too. If someone gives me a job and gives me a mic and say, mate, talk all day, I'll pay you, I'll do that. I'll jump and do that. And someone gives me saying that I'll pay you $1 million, drive a truck, I'll do that because that's I love it. So that's what I see. The balance is about there's a reality, there's a commercial reality. You have family, you need to pay bills. But also there's a creative reality that you can really expose and do whatever you want. In my case, it's the money side is the stricter side. But in some cases, like my team in Dunk, they're creative, they're passionate. But when you go home, they have these strict budgets. They know exactly how much to spend. That's their order. So I don't know. I hope I have answered your question.
No, no, definitely. That's a very crucial message, especially for the current generation, right? Like we are millennials, but look at Gen Alpha and Gen Z. They don't want to work from the office, and you've got this huge, resignation trend going on.
Correct.
So
Great
people have,
resignation. Yeah.
yeah. So people have to understand that business is not glamorous. It's not attractive. It's the boring, mundane things that actually brings money. So I love how you segregated and came to peace and accepting that this is my boring bit, but that's my cash flow, that's my salary. Whereas this is where I go to fill my other cup, which is my creative juices. So I
Yes.
think people have to find that particular balance or the lane that leads to money and the lane that keeps them motivated. And I think that's what I do with all these podcasts, meeting people, networking. I find my creativity, but sitting and doing all the automation, CRM, it's boring. It's
Yes.
just brain numbing. But
Correct.
that's my cash flow. That's what
Correct.
I do
That's
for
what
a
gives you
living.
salary. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So that's great message for anybody who's frustrated now and listening to this. Great message from Krish saying segment your day, segment your activities for cash flow and segment your activities for something that you love doing. So you kind of get a balance of both. Okay. Great, great. I'm loving this. So I think another thing that I want to explore in what you said is emceeing, right? So it not everyone would be open to talking. And I thought until I met you, I'm the only weirdo who can just pick up the mic and speak nonstop. 24 hours you want me to talk, I can talk. So, but then after I met you and after I went through one of your LinkedIn posts where you spoke about your experience as a kid, where you asked your dad about elocution, and when he said stage fear, you did not even know the term. And that's when you said, if you don't know that fear, you're never going to have it. And I think as a parent, we want our kids to not even know that fear, or we inject that fear unknowingly, right? So this is in terms of business context. A lot of people fear money. A lot of people fear uncertainty in cash flow. There's a lot of fear around business. So what is your message to those people?
The reality is business is uncertain and business is mundane, business is boring. That's the hard truth. Because there's an analogy is like a businessman is someone who jumps off the cliff and then starts building an aeroplane while he's actually about to hit the ground in full force. That's the reality. And the problem also is we are not good with everything. And that's the reality. We are good at one thing and we want to convert that to a business. If it's a service, I'm a very good accountant. I would want to go and sell accounting for my clients, which is fantastic. I'm really good at it. But am I so good at marketing? No. Am I good at converting into sales? No. Am I good at social media posts? A little bit okay. Am I good at managing people? Probably not. So there are a lot of areas of business which you won't be good at. And that's where you start hiring people. But even before you come to that stage, it's very scary because it's very unknown. I follow this guy called Alex Hormozy. He's a founder of School. Yeah, I'm sure you know him. he's brilliant. And then it's like, yeah, you don't know. And every time you think that you've come to a stage, the new challenges start. So it's about, when do you give up? When do you quit? But you just need to have that resilience and that dog with a bone attitude, saying that, you know what, whatever I'm doing at the moment, I'm enjoying it. Like as you said, Alpa Santoshi in Telugu. If you're enjoying what you're doing now, the future, you could be $100 million, $1 billion, or you could go bankrupt. Hopefully, touch wood, it won't happen. But whatever the situation is, if you just hang in there and saying that, you know what, I'm good at what I'm doing, I'll continue to push myself. I'm not good at what I'm doing in these areas, I need help. That's where consultants like CRM, you come and help clients, saying that, there's a lead, there's a money in there, you follow up. And people like me come up and saying, we look at the historical thing, saying that, okay, you've spent this much, you know that you're running short of cash, you will run out. So do what you are really good at and enjoying, go full force. And the things which you're not good at, which you will be, some things you're not good at, seek help.
That's it. Delegate, delegate, delegate. That's the word that'll be a savior. So that's really, really encouraging. For migrant entrepreneurs, most of them struggle with their confidence level due to language barriers, their accent issues. So, what's your message for such people?
This is my favorite topic. I would say put an effort in, because it's same like, understand, Australia is a fantastic country. It's a really good country. It will give you a fair go. But as a migrant, I'll give you this example. I hope some migrants will be listening to this podcast. Say I'm a Telugu man and there are all Telugu people in, and all of a sudden a Tamil man comes into this set of bunch of people here and say, I want to do sales. These Telugu people in Telangana, their customers are Telugu, their employees are Telugu, their staff are Telugu. This Tamil man has to show really lot of effort, put a lot of effort in saying that I can blend in. I do have Tamil accent, that's okay, but I can bring you sales. I can do the work. It's the same analogy. When you come to Australian scenario, if your clients are Australian, teams Australian, you need to know what's Bob's your uncle mean. You need to know what's she'd be all right might mean. You need to put that effort in. That's what the understanding the culture means. If someone says you don't have local experience, what they're really telling is you don't have local cultural experience. Like when I first came in, we were sharing some chips, French fries, and there was tomato sauce. And I took the chip, dipped it in, ate it, dipped it in again. That's double dipping. I didn't know that was not allowed. Simple thing. I didn't mean to offend anyone, but nobody taught me this. And then when I was talking to my boss, Tony, I was folding my hands and said, Tony, tell me, Tony, tell me. I was actually showing respect. And Tony said, why are you being rude? Why are you not accepting what I'm saying? Cultural difference. I was not being rude, but who told me this? So for every migrant, put an effort in. It's on you. It's on us as migrants. We need to learn the culture. Talk to Australians. Australians are very good people. Be open, saying that, hang on, I did not understand this. What do you mean by that? Make a notes. Even today, 23 years later, I have a book with all the phrases written. She'd be all right, mate. Bob's your uncle. Don't put a horse before the carts. All these things, because it's very natural for Australians to say, but as an Indians, we don't know. So that's one effort of the language. The other effort of the language is accent is important. Don't discount it, because communication is all about how the other person is understanding you. And the way to say this is quantitatively. Again, my accounting brain comes in. You got to see how many times other person is saying sorry to your sentences. First time, they might say sorry 5 times. You have to repeat yourself 5 times. And the second time, if the sorry comes 4 times, you are winning. And to a stage where it comes saying that you say something, they answer it without needing to say sorry. You have won. That's the probably 5th step. And there onwards, I follow a guy called Win Gian, Vinh, Win Gian. Probably you share it, Priya, if you can, some links about him. And he will explain the science behind the accent, because we all have mouth movements which we are born and brought up with. So when we try to speak English with our Telugu mouth movements or Tamil mouth movements, the way the sound comes out of the mouth is different. So it's all about just training the mouth movements to say the sound the way Australians understand. That's all the accent is. So once you practice that, you will never be 100%, but at least you're 80% there. The communication becomes easier. When the communication becomes easier, the trust is formed. When the trust is formed, the other person starts sharing their personal things. about their dog, their family, their kids. That's where the relationships thrive and that's where the friendships happen. So there's a lot of steps to it. And as a migrant, please, when someone says, they don't welcome migrants, I feel sorry for the migrant saying that, mate, you need help, right? I'm happy to help you for free of charge. I'll do it for free. I'll do it for 3 hours a day. But please don't discount Australians. Australia is a good country. So yeah, my takeaway is put the effort in learning the culture, number one, put the effort in learning the accent and do your hard yaka. That's what I say.
Great message. I think as migrant, I would always say there can't be more racist than Indians. Britishers can still come back, divide and rule us, you know?
Yes, could be,
So
could
I
be.
I definitely feel that because we still are separated by so many states and languages and so many different things, and people after coming here still tend to stay within that little bubble. They don't want to go out, mingle and know the culture. I did not understand the word shame when they say, oh, it's a shame you, so they're actually saying it's sad, Priya, you can't
Yes,
come. So if I'm saying,
correct.
tomorrow I'm busy, sorry, I can't come for the
Yeah,
barbecue,
it's a
oh,
shame
it's a
that you can't
shame, it's
make
a
it.
shame. I'm like, why is he? So I thought, like India, we say shame, shame. So
Puppy shame,
yeah,
yes.
exactly. So I was like, why is she saying shame? And I
Yeah,
felt offended. And then
yes.
when the same context came back two times, I was like, oh, it's
This
not
is what they
shame
mean.
as in a bad context. It's
Hmm,
shame as in she's saying it's sad, you can't join, but
hmm.
it's just the word and how it's been used in the cultural context.
Yeah,
So, as you said, even after 10 years, I'm still learning so many different things, and it will be a journey of learning in progress. So,
yeah,
most of us either give up or we tend to be judgmental. So, that's what I
yeah,
find. Most Indians tend to be very judgmental with a lot of
correct.
things. And I think it's an easy blanket. Please share your thoughts on this. It's easy to say, if I'm applying for a job and I didn't get it, instead of me actually accepting the fact in most cases where maybe I'm not the right fit, or maybe they found a better candidate, or it's not what you know, it's who you know, it's easy for me to say, hey, they were racist.
You are correct because I'll also give another side of things as well. It's like it is you are correct. I'm agreeing with you. But also we need to understand the culture and the status we come from. See, the people who we see in Australia are very wealthy Indians because if you can't afford it, you wouldn't be physically seeing them. And back in the country, back in India, we're very well off. Most of, I would say, not very well off. We're very comfortable. We have maids in the house. We have at least one car in the house. We have our own houses. We live in buildings. We wear good clothes on every occasion. So we have a bit of status when we come in. So financially, I would say we're affluent. 90% you see are affluent people. And in India, with that affluence comes some of privileges. And you can walk into any boardroom, any meeting, disturb any person. They give the same respect for your financial affluence, the status you project. And the expectation becomes that wherever you go, you need to be treated the same way. And when we carry that expectation in Australia, that's where we feel like, hang on a second, I'm Krish. Come on. That's the expectation. And when the expectation is not matched in Australia, that's where we kind of take the easy option. And I wouldn't blame them. If you're never had that privilege, you go like, you know what, that's another day. Fine. I'll try to sell to another person. I'll try apply another job. But because of that expectation as well. But also the other side, yesterday I was attending my Logan Chamber of Commerce meeting and I had to do an impromptu speech. There were 97 people in the room and there were two migrants actually who did the presentation. And then we were a bit of time to fill in because the migrants, the presenters, they were supposed to present 15 minutes, but they only presented like 7 minutes each. So my secretary and I, we were trying to say, oh, fill in. And I offered saying that, do you want me to talk for 10 minutes? She said, yeah, I'm a migrant. I'll talk. So what I said to people there saying that, hey guys, people who come from overseas, they're extremely skilled people, right? Because if they're not skilled, you will not be seeing them physically here. They would have passed their IELTS 5, 6, whatever. They should have passed their masters in whatever platform they have. They should have worked in so many jobs. So they've got grit. They've got that resilience already. The only thing they're lacking is the cultural and the accent training. So please give them a chance. So I was also encouraging Australian employers to give a fair go to migrants as well. So in a broader context, yes, we kind of take that security blanket saying that, oh, they're racist, they're not doing it. But I think we all need that a bit of comfort. You don't want to be beaten too much. That's okay, I guess. But also, as you rightly said, put that hard yakor in to learn the stuff as well to be successful. Can I share one more thing if I'm not
Sure, sure,
digressing?
sure.
What I've started encouraging the other students and my CPA mentees and other friends as well is the reason why people don't give the first opportunity is let's accept the fact that when they look at the foreign name, just the employers think they can't speak English. It's just that's how their perception is. Yep, Krish, he doesn't speak English. They need to hear the migrants even before they see us. Now you've got the extraordinary ability called LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. Put yourself out there, do some videos on your topic. If you're an accountant, go to ChatGPT, say I'm applying for management accountant role. I want to do 10 videos, 1 minute each. What are the topics I need to talk about? ChatGPT will give you questions and the answers as well. Just take a phone and record it. Just record it, upload it. So when applying for a job, people get to hear you and see you, your personality, even before they interview you. So just put yourself out there and be visible, and then you will have a better chance. Sorry, I got digressed, but I thought I'll
No,
share
no,
it.
no. That is a very, very key message for migrants. I also say this. Say, for example, your full name was Krishna Swami or something. You just shorten it as Krish because the first hurdle, if they have to say your name, there's
Yeah,
no conversation. I felt that in Australia.
yeah.
So that's why I shortened my first name, Priya, 2 syllables. I think Australians can't say more than 2 syllables, right?
That's a very good point because see, with 2 syllables and 3 syllables, the way they pronounce it is it's always la na. So Priya, Krishna, Nana. So if your name is say Pallavi, and if the names, if the sorry, the syllables are three, they will say Nanana, Rebecca, Jessica. So that's how the names are pronounced. So if your name is Pallavi, it's quite common that you will be pronounced as Pallavi. So when you understand this way they pronounce and the way they pick up the words, and your name is say, for example, Tamil Selvan. That's Tamil Selvan is doesn't fit with Nana or Nanana, and it becomes very difficult to pronounce. So even when you're picking up a name, a shorter name, make sure it does fit into that, in Telugu we call chandasu, that pronunciation or nanana, another tip.
Yeah, thank you. I always say that shorten your name, make it Western. It's not illegal. It's
Yes,
just an easy way to get your foot in the door and have that first conversation, which is very, very crucial.
correct.
Yeah, so great, great tips there. I think if there's any students or aspiring migrants who are listening to this, I think that's a great tip for an employer. What they look for is even before they start judging you, you're not giving them an opportunity to judge. So that's just you being proactive and not being reactive and complaining. Like when people complain about Australia not having opportunities or not getting a job, I just feel they haven't put in enough efforts. Okay, so, and like you said, the huge factor is their assumptions about their background back in India, and they tend to have that same expectation. Because I used to work with a lot of migrant organizations. They're like, oh, I was a bank manager in ICICI Bank, and here Cert 3 is more valuable than my chartered accountant. I'm like, be a Roman in Rome. Oh, that's a certification that this country values. Either you get that certification or have evidences to prove that you are qualified to do the job. That's all they want. I think Australia is the simplest country, right? I mean, they need a
Yes,
story. You just have to give them that story and with evidences, and you get opportunity. So this is the land of opportunity. Today I'm sitting as a CRM agency owner, starting as a bioinformatics PhD and university lecturer has nothing to do with this, because this country gave me the courage that I can be whoever I want.
correct.
I
Now
can
you're
be
so
whoever
true.
I want. Yes,
Yes,
I'm
and
sure you'll
that's a
agree with me.
absolutely. What you said is exactly right. It's a very simple country. And I say this to all my Telugu friends as well. So, like, say, Tamil people are watching, listening to this, all businesses here is like Anachi stores, you know.
Correct.
Well, if you want to apply for a job there, you need to know the difference between kal kilo and half kilo. You
Correct.
don't need to know Japanese. You don't need to know Chinese to work there. Like if you know Chinese, you're overqualified. So you can be a chartered accountant. You don't get a job in bookkeeping firm because certificate three is enough. So just it's a very simple country, as you rightly exactly said. What a great simple country. Yeah,
It is
great.
a
I'm
simple
happy
country.
to.
And the more I travel, I really, really feel blessed to call Australia my home
Yes.
because it's nice to visit. Even India is nice to visit now, but I wouldn't go back and live. So I
I know
feel,
that's right.
so
Mm.
I just feel it's a simple country. You just do the right thing. There's absolutely no issues. You don't
Correct.
break laws, you don't do anything wrong. You just stay in your lane, do the right thing. And it's very community driven. And that's something that I see you doing a lot, with your chamber of commerce, with your companies, with your friends circle. So I think last, I'm very mindful of the time. I
Oh
want to
yes.
cover one aspect, which is friendship turning into business partners. I recently saw your post about one of the person who you have had 10,000 days of friendship and
Correct.
1,000 days of
There's a
business partnerships. So how does it work? I've always wanted a business partner because I believe, it's good to have complementing skills people, but then it freaks me out to think how I genuinely feel I work extremely hard because I've had partnership proposals in the past where I feel there won't be balance. I would be 90% and the other person might be 10% or something. It just may be my judgment. Please tell me I'm wrong in how friendships can turn into partnerships.
one thing, even before, yeah, when you start a partnership, especially with friends, be prepared that you will lose money. Be prepared that you will work harder than the other person. And be prepared that there would be a lot of scenarios where you will not agree on items, terms. Be prepared that that person will rule you over. It is not flowery, it won't be easy, and it is not all happy days. But what it gives you is when everything is going flying high, it's fantastic. But as human beings, we need support when we are going low. And that's where the friendship in business comes in. Patty and I, like Patty is the one who encouraged me, saying that might come and join me. I was the one saying that now my friendship is the main thing for me. We've been friends from since year 11. And then he came to Australia because I asked him to come. And I said, mate, I don't want to ruin that. And he goes like, Krish, I'm prepared to lose $1 million. How about that? You lose me $1 million. Until then, we'll go together. If you only lost me 990,000, you still got 10,000 to go. All right, how about that? And he goes like, are you sure about this? I said, yeah, that's my house. I'm prepared to lose this house, but let's do it together. So when you have this expectation that everything's going to go good, then that's where the problem happens. When you're prepared that, friendship is like a marriage, you fight, you have bad days, but it's all about the companionship. The longevity is about, all right, well, whatever happened has happened. Let's move forward back. That's where I guess you should start from with any partnership. It could be friendship is even better because you know each other intimately as well. You know your family, you know your parents, you know your ailments, disabilities, or whatever that is, you're very close with your close friends and you can trust the person because you know that level of intimacy. I think with Patty and my friends, I'm very, very fortunate that they know more than even my wife. And Felicity knows that. Like my wife knows that. She goes like, if I'm sad, she goes like, okay, go and meet boys. You'll be happy. We take a trip to Cairns or even wherever. We spend one full day, telephones off, and rejuvenate and come back. And when we put that same trust in business, that's where the magic will happen. In a long term, you got to wait as well, because once again, we have this complementary, like I'm really good at stage, whereas, you and I, give a mic, we'll talk all day. Whereas my friend Paddy is a very introverted person, but he's got this incredible ability to see future and see $1 billion company. I can't. I'm happy. Give me a caramel cappuccino. I'm happy. So we have these complementary things which works out. But even before you start, this is my advice is partnership and business partnership. It's the ability to give support to each other when you're down. That's where it starts from.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I was just dreaming of a Paddy in my life.
Yeah, you need another Paddy in your life
I
too.
definitely
Yes.
need because I've come this far by myself, of
Yeah,
course,
you
with the help
come
of my team.
fantastic.
But I think with a complementing skill partner, like introverted, someone is grounded who can just see that vision and just keep me focused. I think that would go a long way. I would just manifest a Patty in my life. Thank you so much, Krish. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate all the values that you've shared. And if there's any one migrant or student or someone who's struggling, who've lost confidence and hope and is just beating themselves up, I believe this episode would give them the much needed confidence in life, because I think your core values are be upbeat, be positive, and be enthusiastic, right? So I think people need that, where you love the mundane things, but you also can be fun. So it's not impossible to do both. So thank you so much for sharing this today. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Priya. And it's a fun episode. Thank you so much. And there are so many things you asked me which I never thought of. And this is what the conversation does, I think. Impromptu, whatever comes from the heart, you speak out. And yeah, even if it changes one person's, one migrant story, would be the happiest person.
Exactly. So Krish has kindly, shared that he's happy to do an audit, a CFO audit, if you are a business owner struggling to scale, struggling to see that vision and grow your business. Then have a chat with Krish. If you're a migrant struggling with confidence, Krish is always volunteered to offer the soft skill training and communication training, not in a very theoretical way, but a practical approach to understand the cultural context. So I would not walk, I would run if I needed Krish. So if you're listening, I will leave links to Krish's LinkedIn in the description below. You can check him out and make use of this offer. And I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. And I'll see you all in the next episode.
Thank you, Priya.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to follow, share, leave a review so we know that you love listening to us. And if you are looking at more valuable tips, insights, tools, and resources to help grow your business, please visit pivottothrive.com.au. I will leave links in the show notes below. Just remember, if your current strategy isn't working, you don't have to quit. You just pivot, because the right pivot can make a huge difference. Let's pivot and keep thriving. I'll see you in the next episode.